Last session, I think we had a good discussion about dependency injection. We understand that as a developer, whatever you want to pass into your class or whatever dependencies you have in your class, that all we can able to pass from XML file, so that you can treat this XML file like a adapter. From there, I can able to pass everything easily at runtime. In case if I don't want those changes, easily I can able to modify it. But remember that everything you can pass, you can modify it. Everything you can pass and you can modify it. If it is Java type, if it is an object type, you can't easily modify it. Okay, today's discussion is again runtime polymorphism. Okay, so maybe, yeah, you can easily understand, but yeah, let's let me try to make it in a simple words. It is very useful session. Okay, so dependency injection only. We did dependency injection of various data types. Which data types? Dependency injection of multiple data types we did. Simple primitive, any primitive you can inject. We did example. In example, we used integer data we given input, and predefined classes. Predefined string we used. String we used. Just a minute, guys. Hello. Yes. Pawan. Actually, yeah. Tell me. Okay. Okay. Which one? Okay. Okay. See, from my knowledge, right? I'm sharing everything what the knowledge I have from my past. 10 plus years. So it's all depends on how much you grasp from it. No, no, I'm good. I'm sharing everything. I'm not going to hide anything here. Okay. So I'm very interested to share the knowledge, whichever, even if I learn today something new, that I'm going to share as part of session. So yeah, definitely. But once we finished it, you should know how much you learned and what worth it is. That's where you can climb your experience. Getting right? Mhm. Okay. Yeah, definitely. You can put not only 3 plus 5 plus, you can climb and you can join here, because everybody knew here in this boot microservices. Easily you can, you know, survive there, because whoever is working since last 10 years also, if they are not into the boot and microservices, right? They are now they are updating and moving towards it. They are also new to it, right? Technically. So the same skills you and they both can put there. What you will miss is the past experience. Okay. Yeah, yeah. You can reach out anytime. Okay. Yeah. Okay, bro. Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, guys. So, which all data types we injected? Integer, string we tried. It's a predefined type. Maybe string you can consider as a simple value we are passing. Coming to predefined, this only this predefined class. Predefined and string is a class. Okay. We passed it as a simple value, but if you have any other predefined things, right? Predefined classes like a date. I want to give date input. how I can pass that date, that we can see. Okay. Or if I want to pass a calendar, these are simple utility classes. Okay. And predefined classes, if I have such predefined dependency, how I can pass that, I can see, we can see. Okay. And we see collections or complex types. Coming to complex, we have tried array, we tried string array, and you can try any object arrays also, your custom type. Like I want to pass courses array, which is predefined class, how we can do that, you can try that as well. Later you will realize everything. Okay. Complex types, and you can pass collections also. Majorly we have three collections: list, set, map. Anything you can inject. If it is a simple primitive type, whatever we did in the last example. Okay. If it is a simple primitive type or string type, collection type, whichever you see now. Okay. Student. Okay. So in this student, I have this 7 dependencies. Okay. Dependency one is name, age, string array, integer array, list array, set array, map array. These 7 dependencies, or let's say consider the student is like a phone. Okay, this is phone, which is allowing to insert 7 SIM cards. Okay, imagine, just now we are using phones with a dual SIM card. Let's say this phone is allowing 7 SIM cards. These 7 SIM cards you can able to change. Just consider these are like SIM slots. Name is one slot, age is one slot, courses array is one slot. You have slots here in the phone, and from here you are inserting them. From here you are inserting them. So it is easy to insert all this. Don't think too much. Okay, just consider 7 dependencies I have here, and the 7 dependencies easily I can able to change. Name I want to change it. Consider this is like a geo sim, you can change it. Age like Airtel sim, change it if you want to change the age. Courses like some Vivo, I want to change it. Anything you can change easily here, until unless they are user defined objects. Okay, observe this. Until unless they are user defined objects, you can modify easily here. You can modify easily here. If I have a user defined object as a dependency, okay, I'm going to give one more dependency here in student. I will be creating one more object. Okay, let's say I'll be creating one more object, address. I'm creating one more class, address class, with 3 dependencies: private, string, street, city, state, something. 3 parameters I have. Generate getters and setters, something. So this address is a different object. Address is a different object with street, city, state. Private address dependency I have here. Address dependency I have here. This is a secondary type. If you observe all these are some simple strings, integers, some strings data, so that, or list data, I can able to easily go here and modify them. Now I have address object. Put one more setter method for address. So I'm adding one more SIM slot for my phone. Imagine one more SIM slot I'm adding here. If you are feeling difficult to understand, let me know. I'll stop and again I'll start discussion to make you comfortable. Okay. So D8 dependency 8 I have. So from here I want to pass that address as well. How I can pass address? Till here this is employee object, right? Okay. So this is a student object. Till here we enter states capitals. The next one is via setter method I'm injecting address. So address I wanted to inject here. So address is having again three different values: street, city and state. And it is a altogether a new different object, a different class. So as it is a different class, I need to create that class object separately, bean with id, something address, class name, beans dot address. Here I need to prepare first address object, state, city, state, pass all the properties, street name, value, ABC street, city, Hyderabad, state, TS. I can pass this address object as a reference here. Okay, new sim slot I created, and into that new sim slot I am passing this address. Okay, cool. Using reference I am passing it. Now if I try to print address object also here, just a minute guys, I'll just come back. Give me a minute. Okay, so let me rewrite this toString method again. Okay, because address also I want to print and show it to you. And in address class also let's put toString method. ToString methods are not really important, okay? Just to print and see the data I'm adding them. Getter methods and toStrings not important. To pass data into our class, only setter is required or parameterized constructor. Okay. Now go to client class and get the student object here. Print it. User defined object also we injected, and we should able to see address data also here. So I can see address data with the street, state, city. Now if you don't follow runtime polymorphism, changing this sim is very difficult. Okay, so if you consider these all 7 sim cards easy to change from this phone, changing this eighth sim is not so easy. Changing means I have an address object here. Now I want to introduce a new class. I want to introduce new class instead of address, location data. Okay, the class name itself different, location data. So here I want to add street, state, pin code, a different class. Okay, don't argue why you didn't introduce the pin code in existing class. This consider this is altogether a brand new class which is having a lot of differences. Pin, private string, road number or road, landmark. Lot of this stuff is required, so that I'm just introducing new fields also here. Now go to source, generate getters and setters, generate toString method. So here I have street, state, location, landmark. Now see, I don't want to disturb my student class in before dependencies injection also. I just changed all these dependencies from XML file. I did not interrupted my student class. Now here instead of address class, I'm going to insert location data object id, location data class beans dot location data, and all the dependencies we have here. Street, property, street, value, ABC, city, state, pin, road, and landmark. Something. So now I have new class here, means new sim consider. For location data earlier I used to have address, now I want to pass location data. So it is not easy to pass location data object here. Location data type is this one, and the dependency address is this type, address type. So here address dependency in student class is address class. Into address class, if I try to pass location data, will it accept? Location data is a different object. In Java, it is not possible to pass one class object into another class reference until unless it is a parent, as we discussed in the past sessions also. Until unless it is a parent, it is not possible. Address and location data doesn't have any parent-child relationship. So it is impossible to pass this location data to address. Now if you try to run your class, you are getting errors. Failed. What failed? Remaining 7 SIM slots working fine. But when it comes to location data, it is failing. Failed to convert property value of type location data to required type address. So it is saying location data I am not able to put it into address. It is saying what nonsense you are doing here. What are you are trying to passing here? Location data you can't able to put it into address. They don't have any relationship. So it is very difficult. How I can achieve it? That's where You need to follow runtime polymorphism, as I told you, right? When you have objects as a dependencies in any class, for example, student only having address dependency. When you imagine there is a secondary type, address is a secondary type or user defined type, correct? So when you imagine there is a user defined type is going to be dependency in my class, don't create that dependency class references directly here. Don't create that dependency class as references here. This is wrong. If you do it, this is wrong. You are trying to making your classes tightly coupled, like CDMA4. That's where Anil Ambani failed. He did not upgraded his network to 3G or 4G. He didn't think about feature. So don't hard code your dependency here. Instead, while writing address class itself, if you have an interface implementation model as Java is supporting your runtime polymorphism, interface something a data or address data something as an interface. From this interface, if you have implemented your classes, address or location data classes, if you would have implemented them, address and location data classes, if you would have implemented from address data interface, and if this address data interface is a dependency here, if this is a dependency here, this is the parent, which are in green or childs. when you put when you put parent as a dependency here, into that parent it's okay to pass any child. Address you can pass, location data also you can pass, anything. In future if you want to introduce one more address type, you can introduce, but that need to be implemented from address data, so that you will get flexibility of inserting that into student. Which means what, if you want to, let's say this is the sim interface, from sim interface Geo implemented one sim and Airtel implemented one sim, and for Geo and Airtel both should able to insert here because I'm using same standard. Let's say here in this interface they given size, width of the sim, so that same standards they followed and implemented, so that I can able to insert here. Even this phone also implemented with the same size, and I mean they use this dependency here as a adapter, so easily you remove it and you will put any sim there. In future if you want to provide new network on your name, Naveen want to build a network with Naveen network. If I try to implement my own network here, I also should implement it from standards. The standard is interface. From this interface, I should implement my new class, so that my new class also is easily able to insert into student. Finally, what I want to say is, when you have secondary type dependencies, don't create that secondary type references directly here. Instead, keep a interface first, implement your class from it, so that in future if you want to change this class to another class, easily you can change just by implementing that another class also from same interface. So whatever error we got here, that is because you are trying to pass a different object into this address, so it is not allowed. Instead of that, if I have, if it is complicated to understand, just leave it. I'll give another example also. Address data, let's make it interface. Now implement your address class. From address data, and as well as location data also from same interface. And during dependencies construction, what you can do, you put you put here interface reference. Bus. Now go here and run it. Why? I modified it. Acha. This setter's not changed yet, right? Set address data. The type is address data. Now see, my class is running. Location data I can see street, city, state, pin code, road number, landmark. So now I can easily utilize any object. Into my student class I can pass either this address object or this location data object. Address or location data. Modify it to address and run it. Comfortably it is injecting address object here. Address with the street, city, state. If I want to modify from address to location data, just here I need to change it. So when it is secondary type dependency, if you follow this interface implementation model, it will be easy to achieve runtime polymorphism. Instead, if you inject it directly, it will be difficult to modify. So end of the day, my application should be simple enough to modify. It should not be complex. If it is simple enough to modify, easily I can do or adopt new features. See, without disturbing my student class, I changed address details. Lot of new things I added with a new class, a brand new class I introduced. The only difference is instead of putting direct dependency, I'm adding interface dependency. Is it too difficult? No. This we learn from core Java itself. Don't rush. Like I don't have time, I'll create directly object and I'll put it here. Don't rush like that and do it. If you do that, today it will work. Maybe in future when you want to do the changes or adopt the new things, it will be very difficult. So during dependency injection, it is important that when you have secondary type dependencies, any class, okay, generally student address, this kind of stuff we don't have. We will have MEC classes, controllers, services, DAOs. Consider this class. If student is a controller, you can consider this address data like a business. Let's say student is a business, you can consider address data like a DAO. During implementation of your controller service DAOs, if you practice this approach, your dependency injection will be easy in case even if you change classes implementations. Without this implementation, if you do direct class reference, if you create and if you try to inject only that particular class only you can inject. You can't inject another class object. So end of the day, to make my application more simple for future modifications, I need to use interfaces here as a dependencies. Into this interface we can inject any implementation. We can inject any implementation. This is what runtime polymorphism is all about. So dependency injection together runtime polymorphism, when you use, it will create wonders. Dependency injection is allowing you to do modifications easily from XML file. Whereas runtime polymorphism is allowing you to accept these modifications from your class. See the beauty. It is accepting your modifications because it is interface. Since Java is supporting interface reference equal to implementation object, your dependency injection is utilizing that flavor or that feature and making it possible. You can pass this one or any new implementation also. In future, if you feel that I want to pass Google coordinates also, I need a different object, coordinates location data object I want. You can create it, but make sure that your class must be implemented from address data interface so that this object, the student class, will allow whichever new object you pass here. Is it clear or did I made it complex? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Simple thing, right? Simple thing. During when you imagine that, see, going forward I'll be giving you a lot of examples on it, but while you are creating dependencies, if it is a secondary type, just little careful. When you encounter that situation, just think about it. If you are not part of Spring applications before, or if you are before but you are doing it in a different way, try to follow this approach and you can enjoy the beauty of runtime polymorphism. Okay, or while writing, right? Maybe after this course or when you join a Spring application, while you are writing classes, right? Definitely will put lot of dependencies in your classes. While putting the dependencies, just remember the session, then you will create interface, then you will provide the implementations. If others don't know, they will directly create it, direct objects, but you don't do that. You create interfaces,
Sir,
provide implementation. Yeah,
this address data interface don't have any field or it.
nothing. A empty marker interface.
Okay.
I don't have anything, but it can hold any object, right, of its implementation. It can hold any object of its implementation. That object data I'm able to see here. Just I'm printing that object reference here. When I print any object, what it will print to toString method. What I have in that object toString method, the fields. So that's why you are seeing fields. I understand why you asked that question. Okay. When you have methods, definitely you should be putting methods here. You will be putting methods here. Let's say if it is a business class, obviously you will have business methods here without implementations. That business methods you will implement in address class and location data. But this is a simple bean, right? That's why I did put that. But when we do real business implementation, we'll do. Okay. This is how you need to do secondary types dependency injection. Secondary types. When you have secondary types, you need to follow interface implementation model. to inject it so that your application will become easy maintainable. And this is what we call loosely coupled. Loosely coupled. In interviews, they will ask what is tightly coupled and loosely coupled. While implementing classes, MVC classes, you need to make sure each and every layer class should be loosely coupled, or each and every class should be loosely coupled with other class. How it become loosely coupled? Using dependency injection with the Java runtime polymorphism concept, we can achieve it. We can give this example. Loosely coupling means making your class independent of implementations. Making my class independent of implementations is loosely coupled. Making my class implementations. Making my class independent of implementations is called loosely coupled. Phone is independent of any SIM. Car is independent of any tires or any wheels. Lot of examples you can give. Okay, yeah. So I think this is it for today. I don't want to continue this further. Okay. So tomorrow we will see. Tomorrow we will see. Okay. Tomorrow we will see uh, constructor dependency injection. One problem we solved, right? Constructor dependency injection when you want to change the order by using index, we change the order, but still we will have some problems in constructor dependency injection. That problems we will see and we will conclude it, and will proceed further to advanced way of dependency injection, the real time concepts, actual concepts. Okay, that we will see tomorrow. Today this video and these examples I'll make it available. Okay.